I remember Sue saying at one point, when you're working with multiple people at once, and she's saying at some point you'll start to notice that one of the people on the table will become the resonator for the room, and that's kind of setting a whole momentum and tone and fluidity, and everyone now is riding the same wave, so to speak, or everyone is surfing the same wave in their own way. And I think in Sue's beautiful humility in lots of ways, she accidentally left herself out of the equation, and the truth is, in that space, she was the resonant holder. She was that, because she was there showing up with such allowance, such curiosity, such openness, in her own experience of, well, I don't know, what if, I don't know what if, I don't know, but if I'm willing to follow and feel, what can happen? And that's truly the only place that anything new will ever emerge from. Because if we know what's going to happen, if we can predict it, if we are driving towards an outcome, we've already collapsed everything down into a limited scope of probability. We've removed ourselves completely from the opportunity of potential. And Sue's willingness to show up and practice, not knowing, willing to follow what she could feel, not really knowing what that was either to begin with, because of course she had no geometry to follow. The geometry emerged because she was willing to listen. But to be willing to listen, you have to be willing to listen to yourself, and you have to be willing to listen to yourself above all else, not just at the tables, but in every avenue of life. And it was her willingness to show up in that space and be so in resonance with what else she felt was possible, even though she didn't know at the beginning how or what was going to happen, that made her the resonant space in that moment, because she was a space emitting full resonance with her own existence, that every system around her then was able to go, oh, maybe I could too, and I think that is the power of showing up in practice, willing to be full stop, and willing to be curious and willing to question, and willing also to notice where we're looking for the answers and where we want to be able to give answers that sometimes are impossible to give, or where we expect ourselves to be able to answer questions that actually, if we understood more about everything when it comes to matter and physics and blah, 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 we would stop expecting to know any of them at all and realize there's so much more that we don't know. And in our allowance of not knowing, we also give the people on the table the allowance to not have to know before they allow themselves to be. They don't have to know a plan, they don't have to know the outcome. All they have to know is that in the willingness to be the space in every present moment, they become the space for potential in every present moment. Because if we can listen in every present moment, and allow something to come to the surface through us, that is the power of the present moment, is that in every moment is the potential for something completely different to happen.
Absolutely.